We just want you to sit in your chair and go, hip hip hooray, for the Western press and the Western narrative, regurgitating the same old, every single day, without the stop. Please watch the first series, the first 2 episodes, the second series. Look at that.
Absolutely fascinating.
And it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Hi everyone, sorry about that. I don't know what happened to the intro there. It's just, even me, I'm out of sync. Don't know what's wrong. Is it atmospheric skies? I've got a great guest on tonight. A person that you've all been screaming out for, a ufologist. So I have John Hanson on, and we'll be talking about his books. He's got books. And I think he'd be absolutely delighted with this wonderful guest. I've been in the hospital today, and I have a walking stick, and there's no rubber at the end of it. And I was walking through, and I was slipping. I nearly went only for this fella. He grabbed hold of me. He said, "Are you all right?" Because if I was gone down, I wouldn't have got up, unfortunately. But anyway, I don't know what's wrong with the. I'm all out of sync. So I'll just see what the people have been saying. Simon, hiya Simon, good to see you, mate. Good evening, Franco and chat. Hope you're all well. And looking forward to the weekend. Looking forward to John being on the show tonight. Although open-minded on UFOs, will be an enjoyable show. Absolutely. Just listen to what John has to say. And how he got involved as well. Simon. And he carries on by saying, I heard that. I'll have to put my glasses on again. I know I'm wearing their glasses, but they're my distant ones. There's my reading ones, be able to read properly now. I heard that Bonnie Bridge referred to as the Falkirk Triangle averages around 300 UFO sightings per year, the most on the planet. Can you ask John, is there any particular reason why this is the case? Of course I will. I think he'll have an answer for you right away. And Simon carries on. Can you thank John for his services as a CID officer? He has had an interesting journey from working as a chef to food to gentry at Hunt's Balls to meeting the Queen Mother. Well, there you go. You know more about John, I think John himself. To be honest, lovely better to tell you. Buonasera, Franco. Buonasera, cara mia, bella. And John and chat, been looking forward to tonight. John, I remember my parents talking about a sighting in Suffolk of the UFO 40 years ago. Can you enlighten us a little bit about the subject? I wonder if that's the Rendlesham thing. I don't know. That's all that I know about that. And Edwards, hello, Frank, Simon, and Chet. Isn't that lovely? I'm Bella Italia. And Toscana, the lovely Toscana. Ciao, Franco, and everyone. Hope you're all well. Tonight's going to be interesting. Can't wait. I'm all out of sync. I don't know what's wrong. I hate that. Really. Bella says, Franco, thank you for your lovely words in the Italian to me and Toscana. I should have married an Italian, you know. That's one of my regrets, not marrying a lady from my mother's country. Do you mean Rendlesham? Yeah, there's Toscana saying it's December 1980. Do you have Audible or Kindle? There's quite a few books on it. I think the most famous one in Italy happens in Florence in 1954, where a football match between Fiorentina and I can never say that bloody word. Pistola. Why couldn't it be? Or they stop for players and fans to witness the objects flying in the sky. I believe there's a lot in, is it Sicily? I'll have to ask John. I'll just go straight down. I'm sorry, I've got to bring John on. I've got to bring John on. Hang on. Freedom of Journey. Good evening, Frank and chat. Oh, great. The Red Bird. Big up, Professor. God, Brian, you should have seen me today. I was falling all over the place. Callum. Get in, Frankie. Barry Eldridge. This is great. This is it all on to see this great man, John. Good evening, everyone. Thought I had seen an alien, but it was Frank. Don't like them jokes. Holy. And the Redbird says, apart from LFC shows, this is one of my favourite shows. I love all that. Thank you, Redbird. Thank you so much. Oh, Lynn, I'm sorry I missed your call. Even Frank, sorry I missed your call. Sorry I missed yours as well. I was at the hospital, unfortunately. And good evening, Frank and legends in the chat. Hope you're all well. I've made popcorn for this one. And as Redbird says, they've covered up numerous crashes, in my opinion. Barry, to Redbird to Barry, don't say that, or Frank will alienate you. Yes. Psst. But anyway, I'm going to bring this wonderful man on, John Hanson. And as I said, I've got Anthony on as well, you know. Anthony, he loves the UAPs. How do UAPs know, you know, UFOs. And there's this great man that I'll bring Anthony on as well.
OAP.
Hey, John, you're okay?
Yes, good afternoon. Oh, sorry, good evening, isn't it, really? Nice to hear from you again.
Oh, yeah, you know, we've been asking for we couldn't get your email because you changed email. I'm Jason, like you, as the ex-detective. Jason's, you know, he sniffs around and he goes through everything and he finally found you.
Yeah.
So listen, John.
Right.
I'm going to bring in a great international artist, this fella, great friend of mine, great friend of everybody's, and he's very interested as well. And it's none other than Anthony Brown. And there he is. Hi, Anthony.
Good evening, Frank. Good evening, John. It's a pleasure to meet.
Hi, Anthony. Pleasure to meet you as well.
Yeah, we're all good friends, and especially our chat. Our chat are absolutely, honestly, they're wonderful. And it's like as Toscana says. Toscana says, hello, Anthony. Hello, John.
Good evening, Toscana.
Welcome aboard.
And the red bird says, John Hanson, what a legend. Oops, I meant Alan. Alan Anthony, who played for Liverpool. There's a little bit of humour there. So listen, John, about your books, The Haunted Skies, can I just show briefly this, The Haunted Skies? Can you tell me what, I know you've written a number of books called The Haunted Skies, everything's based on them. Can you give us a little, okay, first and foremost, how did you get involved with these phenomena things?
Well, I got involved actually in 1994 as I was in the process of retiring from the West Midlands Police. Prior to that, I would be the first to tell people that when I was a uniformed copper back in the late 60s, early 70s, before I went on to CID, obviously I worked night shift. I never saw anything unusual apart from, as I say, apart from when I watched Star Trek or some of the science fiction films. But I had no interest in the subject because, of course, UFOs couldn't possibly exist. Neither could the Loch Ness Monster, neither could a host of other strange things. And boy, was I in for a shock, because in 1994, I must have certainly been interested prior to that, prior to June 1994, but I cannot remember, but I certainly went to the local college. They asked me to do a talk on UFOs. Thinking about it, I might have been an investigator for Quest, run by Tony Dodd, and certainly I knew next to bugger all then. But I went to the college and spoke to the audience there, and I used a VHS camera because their equipment was down. And when I got back home, I was about to get into bed at about 9:20, and a light lit up the bedroom and behind the curtains. So I pulled the curtains back and saw.
John, if you can hear me, you've muted yourself. You've gone mute.
Well, can you check? So I got my studio boss. We're on
okay.
mute.
That's it.
Yeah.
No, you're okay.
Are you okay, Dan?
Any better?
Yeah, smashing.
Well, I don't know what happened there. There must have been a glitch in the system. But anyway, we have to overcome these things. So the next morning, I'd forgotten all about it. And then on the evening, I thought, where's my VHS camera? And suddenly, bang, I realized where it was. It was under the bed. And I'd take a film of this object. And that sort of triggered off an interest. I managed to track down some other people that had seen it many miles away. And for me, that was the stimulus, the incentive, the trigger to get involved in this. And I've had a passion for it ever since. Now 30 years and 24 books later, and absolutely interested in it because, of course, it exists. And sadly, there's been so much of it over the years. We've had back to the 1940s, and yet we can't seem to get any messages across here, because this is the reality. And one of the books that I'm writing, in fact, I'm just about to finish it, is called Proximity. And this is about so many people I've interviewed over the years that have had a very close encounter indeed, and then had all sorts of problems, psychological and physical. I'm talking about marks, I'm talking about injuries, I'm talking about all sorts of things that have happened to them. So I thought it's about time I wrote that, and I've nearly finished that one. But out of the blue, I've decided to write a book about Warminster, because I'm doing a talk there towards the end of August, and for reasons which I won't go into, I suddenly felt, well, look, I'm putting all this down on paper. I've interviewed so many people over the years. Let's get a book done on that. So that's the way I live. And unfortunately, we do exist in an age where not many people buy books, and so many people form their conclusions on what they read in the social media, and but the reality should not be forgotten. I know they talk about disclosure, but I doubt very much. Surely they can't disclose this.
Can I come in there? Because Anthony and we do a program called The History of Literature, and you mentioned books, not many people buy them. And this
Correct.
is all part of the history, you see. If you hold a book up, not a Kindle, a book in your hand, and you can go through the pages and what, even pictures, even yours is, as you said, it's a part of history. It's a part of belief. It's a part of a cult now, the UFO phenomena. It really is. It's a part of this. Now, can I show you some? Because I want to ask you a question. And it's from Simon, actually. I'll just...
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah, go on, Frank.
Start this. And he says, good evening, Franco and chat. Hope you're all well. And looking forward to the weekend. Looking forward to John being on the show tonight. Although open-minded on UFOs will be an enjoyable show. Although UFOs will be an enjoy. And here's the question. I heard that Bonnie Bridge, referred to as the Falkirk Triangle, averages around 300 UFO sightings per year, the most on the planet. Can you ask John if there is any particular reason why this is the case?
Well, I can't. It's very difficult to answer that, because it isn't just about the Falkirk Triangle. It's about the 77 wave, the 1996, 1997, 98, 99 wave. We have 260,000 documents behind us. We have the biggest archive in the country. And these are personal documents, letters, signatures, scrapbooks, God knows what here, which surely, I call it a studio boss behind, we've put together, and we don't charge, but the only people we get are film crews that come up, to be fair, and they will look at a singular event. We talked about Falkirk Triangle, something like that. And if that was the case, I would refer them to Malcolm Robinson, my good mate up in Scotland, the SPI chap, Bonnie Bridge man. But, it's been predominant since the middle of the last century, just how much of a wave of activity has taken place. I mentioned the Warminster wave. Well, of course, it was 61 to 77, but in 77 we had a huge wave of sightings over the country, all over the country. I've got things from Scotland. We travelled up to see a chap called Johnny Jenkins. I call his nickname is Wee Johnny Jenkins. What a lovely guy from Pennycook. And he's given me some of his files and records, and he's done some excellent work over the years. And I know I sound like an old copper here, but I have a lot of time for people, investigators, researchers, it doesn't matter where they're from. If they sit down, if they meet the person, if they assess them as the person assesses them, the researcher, and do the job properly. And that's what I've always set out to do. I mean, look at the Rendlesham Forest incident, which we really don't want to get into, but I have been thorough and I haven't made a penny. But it's not about money. It's about trying to ensure that these incidents, these sightings, these files, are kept for future generations, because so much stuff has just disappeared, and so many guys that I've known are no longer with us. So if I could live to about 150, I'd be all right, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, Bella
But
says, funny enough, um, she says, I remember my parents talking about a sighting in Suffolk of a UFO 40 years ago. Can you enlighten us a bit about the subject? Is that the Rendlesham? Because that was down in Suffolk, wasn't it?
Well, it would have, yes, but people talk about the Rendlesham Forest case towards the end of December 1980. But what about September 1980? What about January 1980? And that was quite a very busy year all over the country. So, yeah, it sounds like the Rendlesham. And of course, sadly, over the years, there has been all sorts of claims and allegations made, which I won't go into.
All about that. Well,
I won't go into those because I'm not prepared to.
Please don't go into that. Can I show you something?
Oh, sorry.
No, I want to show you something. This is a picture I took. Okay, me, good old me.
Yeah.
I hope this works out. Been dying to ask you about this right now. That's a plane coming into land. Right, it's got the headlights on. It's coming into land.
Right.
Then all of a sudden, bink, this thing comes right underneath it.
Right.
Right. And bink, it's away. There's the plane. I'll go back again, if I might. I'll go back again. Now, as I said, there's the plane's lights. You can actually see the tail and the wings, right? Well, the left wing as we look at it, the right wing to the plane itself. And then this, now it's on a trajectory of going up.
Yeah.
What do you think that is?
Well, I honestly say I can't say, because first of all, who took? Did you say you took it?
I took it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how far away do you think that whatever the streak across the sky was from the aircraft itself?
Well, you don't see it. This is the point, John.
Well, you didn't see it.
Yeah. Look at it. I'll show you the.
Yeah, it's certainly intriguing.
See, look, there's nothing there, and it's more or less in the same place, right? And all of a sudden, this thing came from, dare I say, as you're looking at the picture, it came from below to the right, and it was going up. But I never had time to take a picture of it. And the only time I took the two pictures was when I went right underneath.
That's very interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah.
And then it went right out of the picture. It just went gone. It was going at such a phenomenal. You can actually see the plane there, still coming into land.
You can still coming into space,
Yeah, but if you look at the speed of this thing, whatever it is, it's going at such a speed, and it just disappeared upwards into the sky.
Yeah. Well, I took some film on December the 27th, 2000 in Rendlesham Forest of a square-shaped light with other lights around it revolving over the forest, over Capel Green, very close to where Colonel Holt chased the object all those years ago. And nobody's been able to explain that. And not too far away, I interviewed a guy, I think it was near Sutton Hoo, and he he took some film of an object there, and I can see weird stuff. So the weird stuff abounds around the Suffolk area. And then the interesting thing about the film I took, the object is identical to what was seen over Sizewell B power station 2 years later by a couple of researchers that I interviewed. It's I think it was Tony Spurrier, that was, and his lovely lady wife. And they went down there to do some observations after having reports of UFOs seen, and they filmed what appears to be the exact object. So we've got something over the forest, and then we got something over Sizewell B power station. So for me, it's all about gathering evidence, and obviously, without the evidence, you can't form any conclusion. I'm not saying you can find the answer, because I think that eludes most of us. But it's doing your homework, and I suppose that is what it's about. But yours is a fascinating.
Well, can I suggest something? If you ever want to use that in the past, those three snaps, Jason will send you them on.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Yeah.
So they'll be sent to you if you're ever, in the future, and you're just writing something, just show the pictures, because that is something. That is something. Even if you're a disbeliever in these things that fly in the sky, that no one can explain.
I think the sky, Frank, is full of it. It always has been full of it. I spent a lot of time, when I spent over 15 years, I'm not saying I lived in Wiltshire, but I might just as well, backwards and forwards each month, and talking to people, even keeping in crop circles, and really the amount of stuff down there, and it is amazing. But unfortunately, when I completed the Wiltshire book in 2016, which was 1,000 pages in colour, and I was thorough. Do you think I could get anybody in the media to even accept that this book had been published? I can't. That's how it is with all the books I've done. I can't get hardly any publicity. I had people supposed to be coming up to see us a few weeks ago from the local Stratford-on-Avon newspaper. They said they would come. They didn't. I was in the Sunday Times not so long ago, and that was a load of bloody rubbish, really. ET circling around the moon and things, but that's how it is. We are against. The problem is the press, the media, for so many years has really just applied lashings of humour and denigrated what people have come forward. They've had the courage to tell what they've seen, and then they have all this rubbish. This is why most people in the street still are a bit reluctant to tell you.
Aren't they, of ridicule? That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Well, we haven't moved on then, have we?
And that's why I say nothing about what I see myself personally in France. And I always remember a writer here, and he said he's just a paranormal sort of stuff, a fellow by the name of Tom Slemon, and he said to me, "Can I use that?" And it was about what I experienced with four lads. One was a German fellow named Christian Kirkheimer. One was Sheila Foe, a Parisian. One was a lad named Sven, could never pronounce his second name because it wasn't like Swedish, it wasn't Scandinavian, it was some other mad name. And a lad named Chris from Newcastle, of all places, very posh, this fella. And we always went to Perpignan, down to Perpignan, south of France, Anyway, every summer we went. we were young students and things. Anyway, Gilles Lafaux, he had his own car, obviously, and he picked us all up and at a designated spot. So we were all there waiting for Gilles. So we get in the car. One of those, are they called princess car? I forget what they're called.
Yeah,
princess,
it was princess,
the top off there.
royal car.
Yeah, one of those. And he said, we'll take we won't take the roads, the toll roads. We go around the other way. We said, okay. And we come to the Dordogne district. Now, you know that France is very flat. And I'm talking about Central France, very flat. But we came to an incline.
Yeah.
An incline, it was like that. Right? So as we were going towards it, we seen people on the top of the incline. And there was a couple of caravans being pulled. There was, about 12 to 15 people. And what they were all looking down. So as we got there, John, I'm going to pull up, at the back of them. We said it must have been a crash or something. Something must have rolled down, a caravan or something, whatever. This is the thoughts you're having with them all looking down. As we walked over, John, no one was saying anything. No one, not a word was coming from these people. They were just looking down. Then we started to look down. Now, I'm hopeless at estimating size, really, I am. I'm hopeless at estimating distance too. And they said it's just between around a mile away. A mile away. And that's what they said. And they said that this thing, what we were looking at, was 350 feet in diameter.
Yeah.
Now, Chris, the lad from Newcastle, he was studying to be a civil engineer. And we're looking, and we're saying nothing. That was the only... Anyway, we looked at it for about 6 minutes. John, I'll try and do it this way. Right, where am I here? See that? Where am I here? It's all wrong, right. See this thing here? It's a UFO, right?
Right.
I went from there, say like it was over and above these trees, and I went from there into a blue sky. A blue sky, and it was disappeared within 2 seconds. Vertical. Vertical away. Not like that way, not horizontal or anything. Vertical it went. And it was gone within 2 seconds. Just disappeared. Right, so we got back in the car. And we travelled down. And it was about a 3.5, 4 hour journey.
Yeah.
Not one of us said a word. Not one of us said a word. And we get to this place that we went to every year, this little bistro. We went in, and the owner knew us, and he welcomed us, and he said he's having beers. And Chris, the lad from Newcastle, said, can we have 5 beers? They were the first words spoken. And then we started talking about it. And Chris says, the civil engineer, he said, gentlemen, we are now truly in the space age.
Yeah.
That's what he said. Because it wasn't a plane.
No.
So, that was the experience I had. And I wouldn't tell anybody for years because people would ridicule. They really would ridicule. But as I said, this lad from Slemon, he said, "Can I use that?" I was telling him, and I said, "No, please don't." So what do you think of that? Why didn't we speak? That's what gets me for all these years. We never spoke a word. Even the lads, when we were discussing it.
Well,
Why didn't we speak?
I was embarrassed. I've only just taken me the last couple of years to. People used to say to me, "How did you get involved?" And I would say this, that in 1995, I had a phone call from police officers known to me in January the 19th up in the West Midlands, and they'd been directed to a report of a UFO. Which was seen heading across the Birmingham city centre and then coming to a halt over some trees. And clearly, contrary to what the British Astronomical Association said to me in a blinking postcard, this was not a bloody fireball. This was a UFO. But so. Yeah, that's what triggered it off for me. And I traced a lady in Wheatley, Oxfordshire, an ex-school teacher who didn't believe in UFOs, and she'd seen this D-shaped object 3 minutes later, following the contours of the land, going up and over some of the hills. So, and then I found other people had seen it in the country. Again, I can't say what they are, but for me, that was the easy way out to say that's how I got started. But I was always a bit embarrassed to say that you won't believe what happened to me in the year before. And what it did after it happened, this crazy person here was doing the talking, me. I ended up every sort of few months going onto the garage roof with a camera. A video camera, hoping that it would come back, and I've certainly, as I say, photographed them and filmed them on at least 3 occasions. So I do know where you're coming from, and people get excited and talk about disclosure, Washington stuff, but the reality is completely different. I mean, you said about the books don't really sell. I, in fact, offered people the chance to have a PDF of any of the books they wanted on a USB stick, or even transferred to them, uploaded to them. One person in 3 months contacted me. So I speak as I find, and for me, that emphasizes the lack of interest in this country, although obviously in the States it's different. And it's so weird because in our archives, you could talk about 1948 was a really busy year. There was things happening in this country, a lot in the States, when different types of phenomena were seen. So something's up. It's always been up. And unfortunately, we're not taking it seriously. But do governments take it seriously? That's the question.
Well, there's the Redbird says they've covered up numerous crashes, in my opinion, and they have though, haven't they? Just covered it up, everything. It's like Roswell. I think it's the most famous one.
Yeah.
Roswell. Can you talk a little bit more, which is always fascinates me, this crop circles.
Well, as I say, there's nothing like standing in a freshly made crop circle. Most of the ones I've seen are quite simplistic, and there is a wonderful feeling that envelops you. As opposed, I suppose it all boils down to energy. And in Wiltshire, and also up here as well in the West Midlands, I've been to some, and I know some are hoaxed. But there is and of course, if you go back to the 1950s, I think it was in Australia, these things were seen dropping down to the ground and leaving these huge indentations. I always remember the one at Warminster, though, where I spoke to the gentleman's wife, because sadly he'd passed away. But these couple were on the way home and just outside Warminster, and they saw a triangular UFO in a field, a triangular shaped object. So they stopped, and he said, I'm going to go and have a look. And his wife said, well, you can't, it's too frightening, don't go. So he went and had a look. And then they left. They contacted a scientist that I was in touch with over the last few years. And he examined the ground. And he said he was able to determine there was enough heat on that UFO to have actually more or less melted the flint. So it's as simple as this. Whatever they are, if they really wanted to get rid of mankind, they could do it in a sweep. So that's not what they're about. But this gentleman, following the incident, he had these strange marks on his chest that lasted him till he was still there the day before he died. And he got those the following morning from his examination of the field, if you like. So that sort of evidence is undeniable, but people still try and tell me that UFOs don't exist and that there's a natural explanation for these things. Well, I'm damned if I know what they are, because and then of course, don't forget, in my experience, there is a subtle, I won't say a difference, but the amount of people that have a close encounter and then have very strange things happen to them in the house, apart from obviously medical and psychological problems, etc., but they will go on to experience what they would say are paranormal incidents. And I often wonder, really, is there actually any difference here? But I do know that many in the UFO history, and we're talking about some very intelligent blokes, all felt, I'm thinking of the Reverend Paul Inglesbury, who was the Lord Hill Norton's mate. And I met up with him once, and he said that these are demonic. That's not a good expression to use, but other people I've met who've had many years research say the same thing. They are demonic. Well, a lot of people would laugh now, but you know something? Well, they are dangerous. Maybe they are demonic. I don't know. But that's the conclusion brought by so many people. Yeah.
Do you think that there's, excuse me, do you think that there's good and bad aliens?
Probably, yeah. Good and bad energy.
Well, okay.
Well, I think so. Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
Do you think
that's
one
I'm going to ask you a question. And when it says we're hoping to have you on the other week, and one of the most famous comments, everybody, including myself, and I've been asking this since I was that big, right? You built the pyramids.
Correct. Who built Stonehenge? Who built Avebury?
Exactly. That's what I said, about stone.
Yeah.
And it's this. What do you think about this, Anthony? Please.
I've spent my life believing that we know only a percentage of what is out there.
Yeah.
Real.
Yeah.
And I listening to John talking, it was like when you offered pages of the book, it's almost like a fear, because if someone reads the truth of something, then they know it. There's nowhere to hide. It's like you're faced with it. That's
Yeah.
it. You know. Whereas if you don't read it, you can pretend, oh, it was that cheese I ate last night, or it's just a movie we saw, and we make excuses time and time again not to believe what's.
Correct. Yeah.
But
So,
absolutely fascinating.
sorry, go on.
Frank and I mentioned as well when we mentioned the pyramids is Stonehenge, the technology, the planet alignment, all of that is well ahead of our. We can't build
That's
that.
right.
Build that now.
But
You know,
but when I think of Stonehenge or the pyramids, I think you must think of the infrastructure. You must say, if we go back to the pyramids, the three of us are out there, and somebody comes over and says, right, you three start building or start doing this. Well, we'd think, what are we doing this for? And then we'd be young men, then we'd be old men, then we'd die, and then somebody else would take our place. And what was the control, if you like? Who exercised the control to build these things? I mean, our very good friend Maria Wheatley, she's a magical woman. She knows so much about Stonehenge and Avebury. And I said to her once about the stones. She mentioned about once a year they check them, and probably way out here, but they do get some electrical energy from them. And I said to her, well, how can you get that? Is it from the ground? And she said, the impression I got from her was, no, it's probably bioenergy from the persons that touched the stones, that built the stones. Over how many years did it take to build? That's an interesting point. How many years did it take to build Stonehenge, to build the pyramids? And how did people manage? And it fascinates me because the control behind it, well, was it human control or was it alien control? I don't know, but it's fascinating. It is fascinating.
If we were going to do it, we would have someone with us to say, okay, first thing you did was this, and then that, and then they did this, then they did.
Yeah.
Can there be notes taken? Some sort of how did they do it? With Stonehenge, it's fascinating because I think some of the stones were from as far as Scotland. They weren't local, were they?
No.
And how did they get down there? You talk, you can't even put a really a decade on them, if you know what I mean. A millennium, you can't even do that. No, the pyramids.
I think that if we could go back into the past, because when I went down to Wiltshire a few years ago, I've got the photograph, but it was about 2 miles away from the Avebury Stones, and this lady was doing some digging in the garden. And of course, not forgetting that a lot of stones were broken up and used and construction of houses and etc. But this lady was doing some digging in the garden, and she came across one of those stones, and it was in perfect condition. I took some photographs of it, and I said, "What are you going to do?" She said, "I don't want to tell anybody else that it stays as it is." And I wonder if what we see at Avebury and Stonehenge, impressive as it is, but if we could go back into time, we would probably be quite stunned by how much of Britain was covered with these things, And then that leads us back to the same question: who the hell was in charge? How did they control and make people do this work for? I don't know. It's fascinating. It really is. Yeah.
you go.
Can you explain what that is?
Yeah, this was. I use the word implant. I don't know. I've come across this. This is another one which I got it the right way up. I think this is.
Let's take this off a moment so everybody
Can
can
you?
see what you're putting up.
Oh, that's right. Right.
Wow.
That
Wow.
is. I'm trying to get the right bloody way up. That's the right way. That is, if you can look at the top of your fingernail, that's about the top of your fingernail in size. That came from a lady with a history of close encounters from the London area.
Are
She's
these abductions? Are these abductions you're talking about, Joe?
yeah. Well, abductions. Well, all I can say, that is the evidence, and the one you've just shown there, that's not dissimilar to what other people have found or ejected from their body after the event. And again, I say that doesn't happen before the event; it happens after the event. So, but it is obviously evidence, and that was an implant. A lot of the cases that I've covered in this is the proximity book. That's life-changing. Life-changing. I've got to bloody read it. Life-changing UFO experiences for so many people that got close to these things. You know. Yeah, you got it there. So, but before I forget, something else that I witnessed when I was in Rendlesham Forest, and a lot of people don't talk about the other things in the forest, but I've been present with Brenda Butler, a friend of mine, and others some years ago now. We used to go into the forest. We'd go right down to the end of the forest. You can imagine pitch black, sat there, and we'd all sit round in a circle, and then you just no chatting, just concentrate your thoughts and just sit there and relax. And then suddenly you'd hear something would bang next to you, and it would be a stone, and that the stone would be quite hot because obviously in the forest there's a lot of stones. But these stones were quite hot, and they were quite common. Was it something to do with the burial site in Rendlesham Forest? There's like a Silbury Hill, or there was. But these stones, which people put down to poltergeist action, they fascinated me. And I had the one checked, and the scientist checked one of the stones, and she said that the stone she checked, which was manifested or levitated, whatever word it was to use, that dropped down onto the floor, that looked brand new. There was no age-related fissures with it at all, whereas the control stone, you could see the difference. And I can't explain that. People that I have spoken to suggest that bloody crows have dropped them from their nests, which I regard as bloody rubbish. But I've witnessed that, so I know that. I have no idea. I can only record what happens with the evidence, but Rendlesham is a fascinating place for things like that. Yes, and I've come across a similar case in the West Midlands back in '71. Sir Arthur Clarke, well, he didn't come over himself, but he sent a film crew to Washwood Heath, Birmingham, where over the course of 3 years, stones were coming down on the top of people's roofs. They were breaking the roofs, they were smashing cars, and some of the people around there used to wear, and you'll laugh now, but used to wear a steel helmet for obvious reasons. And I'm not sure I can give you an answer here, but it seems very odd that just before this happened, that somebody did some work to their garden, and they'd got a garden path which was made of gravestones, old gravestones, and they moved all them. And I think moving ancient things like that causes problems. I have many cases like that. So maybe that was why the stones appeared. What we go back to good and bad energy, was that which one was that? But you know, I've interviewed coppers that have witnessed it, and even the army came in and tried to find out where these stones were coming from. So that's just one case, but a lot of these cases have happened in the world with these stones. These are ports, as they call them. But as the other gentleman said,
to Stonehenge, didn't it? The power is in the stones, and the
wow, yeah, the power is in the stones. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes the more involved in this you get, the more you realise how inconsequential you really are as a human being, and really, you know, the way that mankind's going now, it's pretty frightening. But there is something out there, absolutely. But as we said before, once the press get hold of it, they take the mickey.
But why did he do that? Why is it because of the cover-ups? As Johan says there, he says MI6 interference, and I believe everything there. And what about this one? Do you know anything about this Pentrick UFO incident, sometimes called the Welsh Roswell? UFO sightings in Pentrick, South Wales, claim to be a military cover-up, allegedly a military aircraft tailing a pyramid object.
Well, I'm a friend of the South Welsh group, Emlyn Hughes. Is it Hughes? It is Shirley, isn't it? And Mike Maunder, Emlyn Williams and Mike Maunder. They've been great. I have reservations. That's all I'm going to say. I'm
glad you said, because you've got to, like, everything that's thrown at you, thrown at me and Anthony and all the chat here. You know, you can't believe everything. The only thing that you can believe in is with your own eyes, what you've seen as well.
But it is, how can I say, I'm being tactful here, that I would not personally write up that case. That's all I'm saying. And that's no, that is how it is to me. I mean, obviously, if one spoke to the lads at Swansea, you could formulate your own conclusions. As far as I'm concerned, I don't want anything to do with it. And I know the person who orchestrated this, if she listens to this, will know exactly why I have no interest in it. But I wish her the best of luck. And that's as far as I'm going with it, you know.
So you're a proper gentleman, eh, John?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Do you still have a pint of beer when you're doing the talk?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's been some years, isn't it? A couple of years, but I didn't know whether. I swear I can remember you saying that you used to have a crafty swig of beer, but no,
not me.
Yeah. No, I'm just playing it, Frank. That's all. You got to have a sense of humour, haven't you?
Yeah, I think all of Scousers have. I've got a bit of No, I was made up when you came on, John.
Sorry?
I was absolutely delighted that you came on. Excuse me, I've got to have this cough. I'm starting to lose my voice.
To beer.
And it's terrible, you know, when I lose my voice.
To get across to an audience.
Well, exactly.
Your years as a policeman.
Yeah.
Did that help?
Hello, yeah.
Have your...
So you've got this here, what Simon said, I think it's called. Excuse me. In light of the National Archive release back in 2010 of Churchill ordered a euro. Can you tell us anything about that? A cover-up during World War II? And do you think that the governments and military intelligence are covering up? to the CIA.
Churchill ordered a clampdown. He stopped the. I've interviewed pilots, many pilots, including one. Let me tell you about Air Commodore Michael Swinney. Michael Swinney had a cracking sighting back in the 50s, and it was reported to the MOD. And then, I mean, you're talking about a very senior pilot here. And then some years later, he's passed away by now, I'm sad to say, but he wanted to find out about his sighting. So he contacted the MOD, and the MOD said to him, I'm sorry, but, you know, we've had to destroy the records in line with company policy and accordance and all that other rubbish. And so it doesn't exist, sir. When he then got a job with the MOD, he found his file. So obviously, people like me, people like you, embarrass them because all we do is speak the truth, as many others have done. But with Churchill banned the pilots because he said it would affect religion. Now, if you can see the way that we're talking, we're outlining what goes on. I've said about good energy, bad energy. Who knows if this is there's a association with religion? But clearly, Churchill felt that it would upset religion, and in a sense, he was probably right, because that is the problem. Many people say to me, well, look, I mean, I'm Church of England, I'm not religious as such, but many people you know, will say that the evidence for UFOs is overwhelming. And we've talked about Stonehenge, we've talked about Avebury. What was the divine power that ensured all that was done and implemented? What was the point of it? You know, whether it's to do with astronomical associations or what, I don't know. But I'm sure that the problem is that the lemmings, and there's lots of lemmings, and we could be lemmings, so we wouldn't be even talking here at the moment. But we're people that want an answer, you know, because based on the evidence, based on what thousands upon thousands of people have seen over the years, and yet quite often somebody will contact me and say to me, as I did the other day from Liverpool, lovely lady, and she was so upset and she was so grateful, wasn't she, Shirley, that she could talk to someone that she could trust and tell them about her experience when others would laugh. And that is the problem. And she said, please don't use my name, which isn't a problem. But this is the predicament we're in. And nothing's changed, has it, since the 70s, 80s, 90s? Nothing's changed here. And it's not going to change. Although, having said that, clearly towards the mid to the end of the 20th century, there were huge peaks of UFO activity, and that has to some degree died down. I know recently there was the Gatwick case. Well, that's a long story, which is certainly nothing to do with nothing. There's no proper explanation for that, but I won't go into that. And then there's the so-called orbs over the airfields, but big deal, orbs. I've photographed, I've seen orbs with my naked eye. I've seen, you know, like anything else in life, once you get involved in it, it's a journey, and it can be an exciting journey, but can it also be a dangerous journey, of course. So, but we are infected, if you like, gentlemen. So it's as simple as that.
Well, what about Buzz Aldrin? And he said that a message went through to Houston when they were on the way to the Earth, and he says Bogey is following us.
Yeah,
Bogey is following us, and they cut him off.
That's right.
Yeah, they just cut him off. So obviously, there's got to be something there. There has to be, because I don't care what anyone says to me, whether it's honestly, no one could say that no disrespect to ancient Egyptians, no disrespect to them. No one can say to me that some fella came out and went, yeah, look at that, yeah, listen, we'll build that. And, inside it'll be pure, it'll be everything, and it'll be in line with the stars. And it's impossible. It's impossible for a pyramid to be built by a human being. That's made that.
But it's like, in some ways, we bang our head on a brick wall because so many people. Somebody said to me, I think it was Paul Sinclair the other day, said to me, well, the trouble is it's a bit of a niche sort of subject, isn't it? It's we mix with people that are enlightened like us. They're straightforward people. They've seen some amazing things, but there's so many others. They're so skeptical about the existence of UFOs, which is crazy, because I remember looking at somewhere, I've got it all this pile of paperwork here, but a report from Russian scientists in I think it was 56. Anyway, they got this astronomical telescope and they saw this disc-shaped object very high above the Earth, and as it flew into outer space, they said around it were three cubes rotating around it, and then it flew off and shot away at terrific speed. And that fascinated me, because in the majority of UFO sightings that I have come across, predominantly the number 3 endorses them. And when I say that, it's because if you go back to Adamski, go back to Margaret Fry's case, 55, 17th of July, in Bexley Heath, London, and she looked under the bottom of the object and she could see 3 spheres set at hemispherical distance from each other moving about. Now, if you turn that spaceship over, for want of a better word, you might think that those 3 things moving about on the top are aliens. I don't know, but that just caught my attention. But predominantly 3 objects. And then we've got the huge triangular wave back in the 1990s. Omar Fowler from PRA, him and a guy called Victor Keane covered thousands of sightings of these UFOs. People say to me, triangular UFO, is it top secret technology? Well, if it is, we must be spending bloody billions, because there's so many of them seen. But with a triangular UFO, 3 lights, 1 at each corner. Sometimes there's 1 in the middle, but it's the 3 lights on the perimeter. So for me, I don't know I don't know the importance of that, but that's how it is with most things. Most UFO sightings will involve 3 objects.
Well, that triangle UFO, that was seen during the Phoenix Lights. And the witnesses says, as it crossed over, one fellow says it was a mile wide. He said it must have been a mile wide, one of these triangles. And yet, there was no noise.
Completely silent,
Just went over. An incredible piece of witnessing, as they say. And the governor at the time, he was spinning it. But when he came out of retirement, he stopped being a politician. And he came out with the truth. And he actually seen these lights. He's seen them. He said, "Man of this world. It's impossible for them to be from this world." they're otherworldly things, objects. That's what he said. So why, I know he was being ridiculed, especially being in politics. Even Jimmy Carter, when he was president, he came out and said that he's seen, then he was ridiculed. He was, and I always remember this lad. He had long hair, he had a big beard, and he was from the USAF, and he gave me a lift in Germany. And I said, "What you do?" I thought he was in a band. He said, after he got to know me for a little, because we were on a 4-hour journey, he said, "I go after AWOLs." I said, "Go away." He said, "Yeah." Now, I told him about my experience in France, what I just mentioned before. And he said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." And he went, "Okay." He says, "We have discs in a secluded area. You can't get in or out." And there was a fellow, Governor Wallace, at one point.
Yes, I remember Governor Wallace. Yeah.
And he tried to get in there, and they just wouldn't let him in. Then all of a sudden, someone tried to assassinate him, and he became a wheelchair-bound chap after that. So, there's something there. And this fellow was telling me all about it. Then all of a sudden, a couple of years later, all this Area 51 started to come up.
Yeah.
And that must have been the secret base that they had, Area 51, where the discs were. Do you believe it? Do you believe in a fellow by the name of Bob Lazar?
Well, I can't say I believe anybody unless I get to know them. I know what Bob Lazar.
It's gone again. Can't hear you, John. Can't hear you. You've gone mute again. No. Can't hear you still, unfortunately. I think it's Bob Lazar. I think he's got a grip of us. Mention Bob Lazar and everything goes, unfortunately.
So we haven't done anything.
What is it?
Shirley is checking.
Yes, that's it. Can hear you now. Can hear you.
Oh, well, that's something. Well,
There
that
must
is
be
odd.
something then.
No, it's not that. Okay, well, it's weird. This is with Bob Lazar. I mean, I've not many years ago. I went to a conference, and a gentleman there said to the audience, and the UFO audience sat there. They'd believe anything. Some of them, that's being unfair. But on this occasion, they all sat there with their mouths open when this guy, I won't mention his name, he's a very respectable researcher, he said, "This is a photograph of an alien taken at Area 51. And people said, couldn't believe it. Fantastic. Magic. How did you do it? And one gentleman sat next to me, stood up and he said, I don't believe you. It looks like a piece of plasticine. And they admitted it was, because how the hell they could get onto Area 51, a top secret base like that, and find anything about it. Anybody that tells me, anybody that associates things like that with Area 51 and about aliens and this and that, how do I know? It may well be that Roswell could well have been that could well have been the result of an alien vessel crashing to Earth. Why shouldn't it? But the problem is, how do we know that's got anything to do with UFOs generally? Could that be a separate phenomena? I don't know. But with recently there's all this talk. I think it started in January of this year that the American government were going to admit this, were going to admit that. Donald Trump was going to do this and that. And all I'll say is I take it with a pinch of bloody salt because I've heard it all before. Because at the end of the day, how can you admit to the population that you cannot control a phenomena that interferes with the population and causes injuries? It's as simple as that. So where does that leave you? So I take it all with a pinch of salt, and I doubt whether anything's going to happen. So I don't know about Area 51. I mean, blimey, Rendlesham Forest has given me enough heartache. Never mind Area 51.
You know what, though, John? I'm glad you say these things because, it's what you know, it's what you've written about, it's what you've seen with your own eyes, and that's me, what I see.
That's right.
With my own eyes. And you can, be skeptical. I
think you have
went
to be.
I went out for a drink with one of the most skeptical people I've ever known in all my years. And this fella was a very intelligent person. And we went out one night and we had a couple of beers, had a couple of beers, but we were just walking home.
Yeah.
It was around the Christmas time, clear blue sky, crisp, cold weather.
Yeah.
And as we were walking up, these things just all of a sudden appeared. And they were lights. And they were zigzagging. They was just zigzagging all over the place. And then going in a line. And then come back. Say like the middle one in here, like was just shot away, then come back. And it was weird what we were just witnessing. We might as well say witnessing. And then I started to look around to see if, someone had like a torch or whatever. And then, because they were so high anyway. Now, I said to Jared, I said, what do you think of that? And he went, I don't know. I just don't know. Now, this was the most skeptical person I've ever known in my entire life. And I said, could they be UFOs that we've just witnessed? And he went, there's something. He said, they're not planes. He said, they're not man-made. Now, these weren't just lights. They were solid things. And they're the two experiences I've had with the night sky, shall we say. But one was an afternoon, a midday, if you know what I mean. And we were looking down. And that was the one that was in France. And then it zoomed up. Can I tell you what colour it was underneath? This was like a grey colour. It's hard to explain. I wish I could move this speaker, but I can't. And it's the same colour. Yeah, I'll tell you what it's the same colour as. Bear with me on this. It's the same colour as that. That was the colour of it.
Yeah.
Like a gunmetal. But it wasn't like shiny or anything. It was like a matte. This is this 350-foot object. Right? That was that. Now, when I see things, with my own eyes, I believe. And when I've got like people on, that's why I was absolutely delighted with what you said, John, because you are skeptical of others. And that's the beauty
of it. I just can't automatically accept just what people said as I mean, if you like, I appreciate between the three of us here and many others, but how can I won't go into the details, but an ex-CIA man, an ex-MI5 man, an ex this, an ex that, How can I believe anybody?
True enough. Wasn't me.
Yeah.
I never done
Well, that's right. What's that then?
it. Exactly.
Well,
Well,
exactly. I've met people in the forest that says they're ex-SAS. Well, as far as I'm concerned, if you're an ex-SAS, you keep your gob shut. I know somebody who was actually he was MI5, and he's a smashing bloke, and he doesn't even know that I know he was working for the British government as MI5, and he's a smashing bloke. Obviously, I'm not going to mention his name, but because he didn't tell me, somebody else did, and yeah. So I understand where all these guys are coming from, and I understand that. For me, UFOs are a bit like Pandora's box. I think if you lift the lid and look in, like we're doing, it changes us. But if you take the top of the lid off and look inside, perhaps you wish you hadn't done it. And so I think maybe governments are just trying to perhaps protect us because they know a lot more than we do. Maybe that's what life's all about. Is I mean, who knows? People say, are they extraterrestrial? Are they interdimensional? I don't know. I tend to favour more, interdimensional, because there's so many different planes of existence. But these things, they've come through for probably millions of years, and one presumes that that's what they saw back in the days before they even built the pyramids. Or look at the barrows, the tumuli. So maybe they've certainly have influenced mankind for thousands of years. So they'll have to crack on a bit, won't they?
Sorry there, John, but as I mentioned, Anthony and I do. Anthony's a very famous artist, actually.
Yeah.
Also, we do the history of literature and books.
Yeah.
Right, the history, not like reading them, if you know what I mean. It's explaining them. Right. Now, we were talking, and as I said, he's an artist. He's a well-known artist. We were talking the other night privately, and I said to him, I seen a portrait, of a lady. I said, it wasn't the Mona Lisa, by Da Vinci. I said, this lady is just there. I said, it was like a sort of an impression of the Mona Lisa. I said, but to her right, or to her left, but to the right, as we look at it, there's a thing in the sky.
Right, yeah.
A UFO. And I said to Anthony, I don't even, but Anthony knows who actually did it. Who did it, Anthony?
I totally forget the artist, but I know it was like 14th century.
Oh, right, yeah.
I thought, John, it was a joke. Right, and then it was Jason who chased it up and found this image. And it was like, it wasn't painted to draw your attention to this thing in the sky. It was painted as if there's a flock of gulls or whatever flies over. This thing was just there. It wasn't made a big deal of. And it kind of fits in with the way you're talking about these things have been there for millions of years. And at one time, I wondered if us mere mortals kind of just took it for granted that, oh, yes, there's another one up there. And this guy drawing it or painting it, he must have painstakingly painted it in deliberately on the canvas. If it was, I would have the same problems as anyone in the modern day to say, what are you doing that for? That's nonsense. That doesn't exist. And blah, blah, blah. The whole thing, you'd be laughed out the gallery. But
Yeah.
Can I just? There's a few comments here, and I think they're very important. Just let me go through them, and John, you can answer them, and you can answer them as well. One of them, Anthony. Freedom Journey says, I heard Wales is a hotspot too. Simon says, John, have you ever experienced any notable UFO sightings yourself? Right, don't answer it yet. IBR Stella, who says, can you ask John about the Berlin Mountains incident where a UFO was seen by several locals where it landed and the MOD were pursuing it? And Christopher says, I've always assumed there are aliens, UFOs are being depicted in art and painting and hieroglyphics for centuries. So, John, can you start with any of those comments of just, especially about Simon, what he said, have you ever experienced a UFO sighting? I think you answered that before. And the idea, can you ask John about the Berwyn Mountains incident?
Right, as explained before, I've taken 2 clips of film of UFOs. I've witnessed some pretty strange stuff at Rendlesham Forest. And yeah, I'm obviously a believer as such. With regard to the Berwyn Mountain case, the people that originally researched into that were Scott Felton, smashing bloke from Wales, who we know, and Margaret Fry. Margaret Fry has all, to some degree, been forgotten. I mentioned about Margaret Fry sighting in Bexley in Kent in 55, and then she went to live in Abergele, Wales, and she investigated some excellent, say, reports of UFO phenomena. I've been to the Berwyn. Scott showed me around. I've met Margaret up there many years ago, quite a few times. That particular incident, as I understand it or can recall it, there was a nurse off duty with the 2 kids, saw this circular object actually on the hill itself, and then was warned not to go any closer and left it. Now, over the years, I've had people tell me some absolute rubbish. One guy rang me up and said that he was on his way home on that night from a night he'd been to a nightclub with his 2 mates, and they saw this strange light. They stopped, and next to it was a flat bed trailer with 2 army men next to it and a lorry, and he said that they whistled. And they got this UFO on the flatbed trailer, and he whistled, and an alien jumped into the cab. Well, I've never heard so much rubbish in my life, but it's just that, how can you believe that? But when you think about the Berwyn Mountain case, there wasn't that much to it at all. And how do I know what that object was? But it soon took off, and people that said they could see it couldn't have seen it because of the way that the mountain was. And having been there and looked at where the witnesses alleged to have seen it, that would have been impossible. But it's not a case I investigated, but I just rely on as I say, from what Scott told me, and Margaret, who's one of the best researchers in the country. Margaret was.
Could you do me a favour? Would you come on here?
What, shoot myself? Hey, what?
no.
Could you come on again?
You haven't gone again, have you?
No, I said, can you come
sorry,
on again?
I thought you meant the sound of bloody gone again. Come on.
No, I've got to do another thing, you see. Is there any way that you can show us photographs or, even what you talk about the film, what you talk, or is that
sorry, privately. Did you say privately? I haven't actually got them.
For the people.
Yeah, I've got all that. Yeah, I mean, I think the one film of Rendlesham is on YouTube anyway, isn't it, Shirley? And I've took the
I know,
stills of it.
I'd love you, to show us, if you send it through to Jason, Jason will put it on for us.
Yeah. You just
So
test me what you want. Yeah.
So our chaps will, can look at it, and girls, I think it'll be fantastic. Can I just say what Jason says for the moment? Like Edward says to me about that with this lad, I know, the skeptical lad. Frank, was your second experience in Liverpool? It certainly was, yeah. It was in Christian Street as I was looking up. The Anfield Road's with us, I can't find it. Oh, there he is. Anfield Road, made up that you're back with us. You must have gone over to Saudi. Anyway, Jason says, John. Jason says, I think it's the government's interest to avoid disclosure because they can throw anything up in the sky without telling us or other countries what it is. And as he carries on by saying, and as you both know, he does hate AI, generated content, and can't wait for it.
Absolutely. We all hate it. AI is awful.
It is. As he says here, with John mentioning fakes and hoaxes, surely this must be the worst time to try to validate photo and video evidence.
Yeah.
Well, basically, it all depends who it comes from, isn't it? If you can trust that person, and if he has a reputation, hopefully I've got some of that. But as I say, I've written 22 books, and I have been thorough. I can speculate like most of us on the answer, but I can't force an answer because I don't know. And people talk about, that this stuff is top secret, but I always say, well, hang on a minute. We were seeing these objects at the turn of the 1900s when we could just about get a bloody balloon up in the air. So those things have been with us for millennium. They have, and I think we're on the right track when we talk about the pyramids, and we talk about, pyramids on the one hand. Pyramids are in Egypt, of course, and Stonehenge. I'm shocked to say I don't even know what the age discrepancy is between the two of them, and Avebury and everything. But
they can't put a carbon date on them. That's what I'm saying. You can't, you can't give a millennium. You really can't. And I think that the most. John, I've got to finish, unfortunately.
Well,
John,
right. I'm sorry. I'm just getting started now.
Honestly, it's been absolutely brilliant. So when can you come on again? I'll tell you what I'll do it, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Can you come on? Instead of coming on like this, the conspiracies and everything else, can you come on one Thursday evening?
1:30 evening. Yeah, is that? I'll just check with my boss, studio boss.
Come on,
no. Sorry, did you say 1:30?
No.
Thursday.
On Thursday.
1:30. Yeah, 1:30 a.m. No, 1:30 is fine. Yeah, but if you just give us a couple of weeks, because we really are jammed at the moment.
Okay. I'll tell you what. Can you come out? You and Shirley have a word, and come out with a date and send it to Jason.
Oh, of course we can. Yeah.
Oh, that's absolutely brilliant. Now, Jason, in the meantime, will send you those photographs of what I did.
Oh, okay, that's great.
Just before you go, please hang on a minute. I'll send these 3 pictures over. Is that okay? I'll send them over to you.
Oh, of course. We'll talk more about that in due course. All I will say is that for the first volume of Proximity, and I don't like saying this, but it's important to me because recently I did a quick interview on the BBC. My God. But that they asked me, they said to me, why do you write books? So I said, well, because, and I explained, and they said, no, you write books because you make money. And I've never made a bloody penny out of these books at all, but I've enjoyed doing it. So it's
That's
just
brilliant,
important.
because
Yeah,
that's what
about.
Anthony and I say. That's what Anthony and I say.
Yeah.
Exactly what you just said. You do it for the passion
Share the
and not
information.
your beliefs, actually, because you've seen things with your own eyes. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. If you want any, as I say, Frank, if you want any PDFs of anything, let me know. And maybe if I send you a PDF, we can talk about a specific book or whatever you want to do.
Yeah, okay. No, that's fantastic. Do you see there? Can you just give us a little synopsis on Haunted Skies, The Magic of Wiltshire?
Oh, the Magic of Wiltshire. We've got one here. Yes, the Magic of Wiltshire that was we had to, if you like, cherry pick the original book. Wiltshire is on Amazon, and it's something like about 60 quid, which people don't buy because they can't afford it. But that's because of print, because of ink. The colour of ink has shot it tremendously. What I do now, and it's like with the Proximity book and the Magic of Wiltshire, we get them printed ourselves. But what we are doing now, with any books we do now, we will put 6 pages of colour in a black and white book, because we still think people want to see colour. You can't, some things need to be shown in colour. So, but the Wiltshire book is all about everything that's happened in Wiltshire, places like Silbury Hill, Warminster, so many places over the years, going back to the beginning of the sort of even the 19th century. So that was the original Wiltshire book. The Magic of Wiltshire contains, we obviously, is only about 330 pages, but it's one of the best we've done. And as I say, the libraries stock it in Wiltshire, okay. But the newspapers won't touch us with a barge pole.
That's mad, that. I'll tell you what.
Your website, John. Can we buy it from
Sorry?
your website?
The books that if you go onto eBay, look up UFO, Policing the UFO, there are the 3 police books, and there's the Wiltshire book as well. They're on eBay. We can't afford to sell on Amazon because they want 60%. And before I go, I will just say I've tried to get WH Smith to have the books off us, but they say they're not appropriate for their readers. Okay.
Oh, go away.
Not appropriate. Yeah. This is the problem we face. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's been fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
That's what you say to everybody.
Right. No, I don't actually. No. To get kicked off here. I'm not back, to be honest. No, honestly, John, it has been, well, you could see by the wonderful comments. And just bear with us. It's Johan. He said, Madonna in charge with the infants of St. John is the painting being referenced to you legends. Can look us up. Madonna in charge with the infant St. John. And Freedom Journey says, that would be brilliant, John. Thanks. There's my beautiful friend there, Annie. We had a great chat today. Even if Frank and all. She's lovely.
Yeah.
And Toscana, that's been fascinating. Thank you. And the Redbird says, thank you for your knowledge, John. Respect.
Yeah.
There. So
respect must. Yeah.
I think it's. I think everybody's being absolutely. Just made up that you came on, and be fantastic if you do get this. What Shirley that is to sort out a date, a Thursday.
No problem. hopefully I can also mention, obviously we live near we don't live near Stratford-upon-Avon, I do, but Shirley lives here over the other side of the city, and she allows me a few days off to do my work, don't you, Shirley? Yes. She's in charge of the archives, and we do have the biggest archive in the country. Anybody is welcome to come over here, look through, and you will be staggered. It's all in date format, original illustrations, scrapbooks, God knows what, but it's here, and it's here for people to look at, you know. And we do have stuff on the computer, but you can't beat looking through files, can you?
No, not at all. You know, when I was at university, I had to go into primary source, and that's why I said to you, I'm absolutely delighted that you are skeptical as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Made up with that. I really am.
Just let me know.
Everybody, by the way.
What's that noise? Just let me know when President Trump's on. All right. What's that noise?
President Trump?
Sorry, it's a pigeon tried to fly into the room.
It's an alien.
It's an alien.
Okay. And Johan says, thank you, John, Anthony and Frank. Brilliant show. Looking forward to more. So they're all looking forward to you coming back, and that'll be.
Yeah, we'd love to.
It'll just be us three without any, interference, and it'll be a true. Oh yeah, look, police in disguise.
Well, now this is very odd. The first volume, which, by the way, it's a police inspector, serving police inspector, Roy T. I've written the 3 books, and he's helped me. And you can imagine a serving police officer writing books as a co-author on UFOs. That doesn't go down too well. And also, I'm a member of the National Association of Retired Police Officers, and I've tried to get them to accept, because there's quite a few coppers that write books on all sorts of things. They will review the books in the back of the NARPO magazine. I've been trying unsuccessfully for many years to get them to review some of the. You see, this isn't about me, it's about others. And I will just say, and I'm not trying to promote anything, that Prince Philip had all the books because he had, like many others. Why not? It's not rocket science, all of this material, this evidence. It's just a fact that how can you be skeptical? How can you be skeptical? I don't understand.
Well, has there been, before you go, has there been any other cops that have experienced what you've experienced?
Oh, crikey, yeah, there's loads of cops. That is the, sorry, that's the policing
disguise.
Yeah.
Oh, is that a UFO? Oh, you just seen it. Put that back to that coloured one, where your finger is. Oh no, yeah, and I'm sure a UFO was on the other side of it.
Oh, it's a colour page. I'm doing it back to front here.
Yeah, police fly after. Yeah, that's it. Police fly after UFO.
Yeah, I'm just trying to.
Is that the flying squad that went after the UFO?
Oh yeah, that's right. That's the sort of stuff.
That's it. So I think the fascinating, the actual UFO things. It's like this one here above me.
But yeah, that's right. So many police officers have seen these things, and we've more or less covered. The only force I've got to cover on volume 4 is the West Midlands, the West Mercia, the Warwickshire force, and I do have an awful amount of stuff, but I'm only one man trying to do that, and also the other books. But well, it keeps me busy, and that's the main thing. And I salute the fact that this officer has committed himself to to these things. You know, I mean, it's like this.
Oh yeah, look at that.
That was
Oh, frightened me that to death.
well, yeah. This is
There we are. How about this for a comment? Is that like
what's
a
that?
pyramid?
Yeah.
Well, CW says, fantastic show, gents. Please come
Good.
back on. Please come back on, John. Thank you, Frank and Anthony. Oh yeah, I can hardly see because of the black. But
Oh,
you've
is
got a
it?
great
Yeah.
comment. Lots of comments.
I'm going to be really boring now. These are scrapbooks. So many
Wow, look at that.
scrapbooks. We've got 1961, I think.
Do you know
Wow.
you mentioned orbs before? Do you think orbs do the crop circles? Yeah, I've known all about that. The crew
Shuttle crew.
shuttle because they filmed, didn't they? And you see things.
They did,
like,
yeah.
oh,
Yeah. But
across the air.
why shouldn't they? Why shouldn't? It never ceases to amaze me that if you're a person in power, I mean, for argument's sake, personally, we don't know really what our prime minister thinks about UFOs. He's probably a bit busy at the moment. But any sensible person, if they do their homework, if they educate themselves, well, then leaves them pondering, what the hell are these things? Where they're coming from? Blah, blah, blah. And it's as simple as that, rather than just sticking your head between the legs and hoping they'll disappear, because they won't. But we've talked about some amazing stuff tonight. It's always fascinated me, the pyramids and Stonehenge, because it's just amazing. Why were these things built, and how were they built, and who built them, and who. It's just amazing. Yeah.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. And that's the Redbird says. Yeah, the TW. He says, fantastic show, gents. Please come back on, John. Thank you, Frank and Anthony. I'm not going yet. I've got to talk about something else. Not to John, unfortunately.
Okay. Okay.
Frank always brings the best guests. And lovely Bella.
Well, that's going back a bit.
Oh, John, I've got to go. Listen, John, can you talk about that picture of Mars?
Well, it seems to have all been forgotten now, hasn't it? Really?
No, if you talk about it, please.
It's saying a giant human face has been discovered carved into a mile-long slab of rock on Mars. Excited scientists believe it could have been put there by an extraterrestrial civilization. The great stone face. It is just up there staring at us. Well, I mean, again, do you know, I just don't know. If you and I could get up to bloody Mars and get down and land and have a look at it and take photographs, then we would. How do you know it's not simulcrane? I mean, that's fair comment.
We can talk about that. I'll tell you for why. I was looking at, the rover thing, and I went to it filmed this, this like rock formation, and there seemed to be like caves. See caves?
Oh yeah.
And there were steps going up there.
God, yeah.
We can talk about that, John. We'll have 2 hours of it, if you don't mind.
Okay, we could be here all night, yeah.
I know, and I've got to go. But
right, you've got to go then, mystery. Right, I'll just show you the mystery blobby, and don't ask me what the hell that is.
What is it? Don't know.
Neither do I. Okay. Thanks, Frank. Lovely evening.
Oh, it's been absolutely wonderful because Brother Natalia said, John, thank you for your knowledge of UFOs. And please, will you come back on and all this and whatever. And I'll be delighted. So when Shirley sorts out a date for you, please send it on to Jason, and Jason will send you those photographs.
Okay, last photo. Colonel
What's
Holt.
Oh, go away.
Yeah,
That's from
just down the road.
Reddington.
Was playing cricket a few years
Yeah.
ago. I can just say to all to the viewers, my heartfelt. How can I say? What you saying, Shirley? Yeah, my listeners. Yeah, listeners. But unfortunately, the Colonel lost his wife about 18 months ago, and I met his wife in the States, and she was a lovely woman, and she passed away. I think it was cancer, and that's always so sad, you know, because
He seems a really nice man. What I've seen him in
right,
interviews.
yeah, he told it for what it was. That's all he's ever said it was. Yeah, but yeah, we can talk about anything next time, and I'll look forward to it, Frank.
Here's a last question for you. Can you be brief on this? And it's from Johan. He says, John, thoughts on UFOs being renamed UAPs?
Thoughts on UFOs being what?
Renamed UAP.
Renamed UAP. Well, it sounds like something. UAPs, OAPs. It's makes no, seriously, it makes no disrespect to the gentleman that's asked the question, but for God's sake,
He's gone again. He's gone. John, honestly, we'll have to leave it, and you can answer Johan some other time. Right, so what I want to talk about, ladies and gents, thanks, John. That was absolutely wonderful. He will be back on one Thursday, you know, in the next couple of weeks. And if you tune in then, it'll be absolutely fantastic. And Johan gave us that last question. John, thoughts on UFOs being renamed UAPs? He must be a UAPologist. No, not a ufologist. UAPologist. So, listen, what I want to talk about, I'll be very brief. It's about Zelensky. And Zelensky now is under so much pressure, even from the Western media. Even from the Western media. I'm still out of sync. I'm sorry about this. It really is annoying. So what do you think about Zelensky being under pressure? Because Trump, well, I want to know where $350 billion is, because they sent over, these people to more or less audit, because Biden didn't want to audit over there. A fellow by the name of Rand Paul, he's a senator, and he wanted it 2 years ago. He said, send an auditor over there. And Biden refused to send an auditor, the Biden administration. Now they've sent someone over, and Zelensky stopped it. He said, no, we'll set up a thing. And Trump came back and said, no, you won't. No, you won't. So he's in a panic now. And again, I was listening to somebody. Now, I've always said about this fella there, Mac, a big 6 foot old fella, big horrible man he is. And I got some information that there was a battle of Bakhmut, right? And the Russians were just bringing them on, and they were being destroyed. You think that like 70,000 were lost at Kursk. They reckon that there was more lost than Bakhmut. Now, I believe it was Ermak. Now, he's an entertainer manager, but he's a big Azov. He's a big Azov. And he turned around and said no, and he started to take over battlefield instructions. And he said, no, I want the lads to keep going in and keep going in and keep going in. Yet the lads, the Ukrainian lads, were being destroyed every single day. And this Irma, I think that other people want him to go into, be a leader. But you've got Zelensky, who's the the ambassador of Ukraine here in the UK. Now, if you think Zelensky's bad, this Zelensky's worse. So you've got to have someone with some ground, if you like, to balance everything out so that they can have peace all round rather than just continuing war. But what you've got now also is the German foreign minister. And he just hates Russians with a vengeance. He just hates them. Think about that. Why does he hate Russians? And they all stem back from the Second World War. It's as simple as that. It's like, I know I'm using this as you could say an analogy or an example. If you get beat, football, if you get beat, like I'd love Real Madrid in the final to beat them, like we did in '81 in the Parc des Princes. And, we want them because I think they cheated us, to be honest, the last time. And that was in bloody Kiev. So anyway, what you've got, we want revenge. Now, it's the same as these people. They want revenge of Russia. They hate Russia. Now, Russia's not the Soviet Union. This is what you've got to think of. They're totally different people. Totally different. And you've got this fella, and he wants to start a war. Now, what you've got to look at as well, after the Second World War, Germany weren't allowed to have weapons, their army. And yet, they've got these, how come they've got these missiles? How come they've got these missiles that can penetrate deep into Russia? And that's what he wants to do. If he did that, I'm telling you now, a nuclear war would start. I'm telling you right now, a nuclear war will start. And it's frightening just to think that the whole of mankind will be wiped out in one fell swoop. Us. Because you've got Macron, soft lad, and this Starmer wanting to put troops into Odessa. Odessa is Russian, and the Russian-speaking people. You don't do that. Put these people, so we haven't got an army. We haven't got a navy, so to speak. It's absolutely ridiculous. And you've got these two clowns wanting to put troops in Odessa, Ukraine. Now, don't forget that the likes of Odessa, historically, it's Russian. Alexandra the Great, she built it. But the Russians, they're going to take it back and just say, no, it's Russian Federation. And this is why there's a big race to get to Odessa before the Russians get there. So it's only going to make it worse. And you've got Trump. He's all over the place. Trump is all over the place.
Yes.
About Ukraine, about everything. And what you've got as well in this country is the ridiculous thing. I've seen pictures footage of pensioners being arrested for holding placards saying no more genocide. Arrested, putting in vans, Black Mariahs. And this is wrong.
Yeah,
this is absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
To arrest people who have got a heart about genocide, about babies and children being massacred.
Yeah.
We're watching it. We're watching it in real time today.
Yeah.
It's so sad. What do you think about that genocide?
It's sick. I read some today because we were talking on a different subject on a different night about Dante. Dante, the great Italian philosopher, writer, wrote in the 14th century, 13th century, he wrote that there is a special dark place in hell for those who stand by and do nothing while murder and warfare are going on.
I know. I love Dante, as you know. I love everybody. All the great artists, all the great painters, all the great writers. I even go back to a fella by the name of Tacitus. You know, during the Roman team, you know, when they were going into battle, an incredible writer, but he wrote the truth as well. You know, so I go back to all these wonderful. I'd love to do them on the history of literature, to be honest. Right, so what is that? Zelensky justified his decision to curtail the bodies' powers by citing Russian influence. No. The day before, his security services are carried out searches and arrests targeting alleged Russian spies. Well, I'll tell you something now. There's I always forget these fellas' names, the Chechens, and they're called the I forget what they're called. Suppose Johan will tell me, or Simon. And they've been assigned to go after Ukrainian war criminals. And you know that includes Zelensky and Yermak, all these Zaluzny as well. This is it. They're going out and they're going to get them. And they're feared by the Ukrainians. They're feared, these Chechens, because they actually, do you ever remember the Wagner group? They were feared. And then Putin broke them up. They just broke them up. And I'm not saying he's brought them back, but he's brought the same lads back. They're fantastic fighters. Love it when Frank goes into Alex Christoforou mode. Zelensky's days seems numbered. They are begging for fighters from Colombia. There's Colombians in jail now in Russia. There's Colombians in jail in Russia. They got 20 years apiece for joining because normally mercenaries are just put up against the wall and shot. Freedom says, so that Israel was cozying up to, they've always cozied up. Netanyahu, and think about it. Someone said to me once, do you think Jews could be Nazis? I went, of course. I said, who do you think was like putting them in these gas chambers? Who was putting them in and picking them out? They were the capos, and they were Jews in concentration camps. Of course they can. Johan, Frank, even people in Tel Aviv have woken up and are protesting about the starvation. It's been shocking. They've been getting mowed down. People starved. Did anyone see the footage at the old man? And he was waiting for food. And then all of a sudden, he just went like that. He didn't faint. He died. Starvation. Does anyone see footage, or am I the only one who's seen it? It's shocking. But it just doesn't happen to old men. It happens to babies and children. And I only said starvation because a certain G word gets deleted from chat. Yeah. So this is why, we can't really say what we feel, because we're all labelled. There's so many labels going around, and you can't really express, your feelings. You can't express atrocities being caused by a certain race of people. You can't, and it's wrong. It really is wrong. And as Simon says, it's frightening what's going on. Look at what is going on on our own doorstep. Very interesting article I read by Peter Lloyd from the Times, and I think it may be on YouTube. Worrying times, I'll say no more. Are you worried, Anthony, about, like I was worried 2 years ago under Biden and that Joe Blinken, and we were that close away from a nuclear war. Now it seems to be worse. And these Epstein files that Tulsi Gabbard has come out, did you hear about Hillary Clinton? It must have been, I think she was paranoid, to be honest, because she used to be like aggressive and angry, then all of a sudden just changed like that into being pleasant and funny. And just imagine if she would have became president. Would you trust her with a red button? Because I wouldn't. Not Hillary, evil woman, hates the Russians.
I would trust Hillary more than her husband.
Sorry? What you say?
I would trust Hillary more than I would trust her husband.
I wouldn't trust Hillary. Did you hear what she said about Gaddafi? After he was killed, she said, I came, I saw, he's dead, and laughed about it in a TV interview.
Wow.
I came, I saw, he's dead, and that was about Gaddafi, Colonel Gaddafi.
You know what?
I've mentioned Gaddafi loads of times, says how good he was to his people, but with all the propaganda, people said, he's horrible, he kills his own people, which is a load of bollocks.
Propaganda, yeah. You were saying before about our Jason, God love him, hates AI. I hate AI.
Yes, of course you do.
America have been using AI for generations, for years.
Yeah.
Their version of artificial or AT, artificial truth.
Well, that's why Trump always says it, but he's gone nuts, Trump. He always used to say about fake news. But there's the Department of Justice in America, that is, visited Ghislaine Maxwell today.
That's right.
And they gave her a big box, a big white box. So they're all files in there of something. Now there's two things. She's definitely going to be released. And there's two ways. One, if there's no files, what's she doing in jail?
Yeah.
What's she doing in jail? Second, if there are files, and it has been, oh, yeah, there's files there, and she will turn for the, the way we can say it's, for the crown. Well, they'll give it for the state. She could give it for the state's evidence.
Yeah.
And she tells all about these files, and they'll pardon her. She'll get out. One way or the other, she's going to get out anyway. She has her top lawyers, supporting her.
That's a scary thing, but I don't think the lawyers can save her.
Really, Tonya, why?
I think all of the loose ends are being tightened up everywhere else. And
yeah, it's like the lawyer, isn't it?
Yes.
The lawyer being found dead the other day, young lawyer.
Yeah. Isn't that a coincidence?
Yes, very much so. Very much so. And you know who's going to go in for? I think he should be in jail, this fella, to be honest. And I think he's put himself up as a nominee for the president of the United States, and that's Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden. He should be in jail now, him. Obama should be in jail for treason. Hillary, them all. Simon says, Hillary Clinton, Benghazi, one of the biggest cover-ups. Benghazi was. Get in there. Sorry, Anthony. Bill wasn't great, but Hillary was only interested in power. Wouldn't trust her as far as I could throw it, with respect. They are, and I totally agree with them. She was a nasty woman. Still is, not was. That was past tense. Is a nasty, nasty woman, is Hillary Clinton. She's horrible. And let's see what happened there. Simon says, while denouncing Donald Trump's racist rhetoric, Hillary Clinton had retained a campaign surrogate who previously called for the internment of some Muslim Americans. Yeah, she did. Maxwell best mates with Prince Andrew. Oh, says Annie.
Yeah.
Yeah, says as it is. Annie.
That's
says as it is.
Yeah. No.
And Johan, the White House tweeting videos of former president getting arrested shows how deep we are into the fall of the American empire. Obama should be prosecuted for his war crimes, not a grudge versus some. He had Gaddafi and Cameron, the pair of them, and Gaddafi killed. That man got a terrible, inhumane death. Inhumane, I'm sorry. Death. Did Muammar Gaddafi. But as I said about that Clark fella, that general, when he shows a piece of paper saying these 7 countries are going to be obliterated by us. And the last one on the list was Iran. And look what's happening with Iran today.
Yeah.
It's shocking. It's regime change. It's coup d'etats. It's colour revolutions. You've got NGOs, provoking people. They did it in Georgia with all these protests. But they weren't Georgians. There were a few Georgians, but the majority 95% of them were from outside, and they paid them to go into, different countries protesting with little
Yeah.
EU flags
Yeah.
to take out the government. Then the revolution starts, sort of. Well, they're not revolutions, the coup d'etats. Annie Mac, Blair, Bush Senior, and yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Go for that.
Michael J. Roy says, reading maketh the man. I've heard Trump hasn't read a book in his life, say no more. And who said that was Sir Francis Bacon. Reading maketh the man. As you know that. Great quote. It's over at libraries, that as well. Simon, from 2013 through 2018, Hunter Biden and his company brought in about 11 million via his roles as an attorney and board member with a Ukrainian firm. Yeah, I forget the Ukrainian firm. I forget it. And he also built, I forget how many biolabs right on the Russian border. Right on the Russian border. And when the SMO started, you should have seen the film of these Ukrainians setting fire to everything, all the evidence. But they got the evidence. The Russians, they never got, they couldn't destroy all of the papers. And and colour revolutions, yeah, well, that's it. They're all colour through the NGOs, these outside agencies. It's shocking. And I hope Iran can take a leaf out of North Korea. The thing is, Annie, with the North Koreans, no one would go near them. But if you want my truthful opinion, a friendly country to Iran, will give them nuclear weapons. And then it'll all stop them with the Israelis. Because Israel just wants to take on. That's why they're asking America to go and bomb Iran. Shocking. Shocking. And Netanyahu, the biggest laugh, I reckon, of this millennium was Netanyahu proposing Donald Trump as nominated for a peace prize.
Insane.
Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah, like the Chuckle Brothers. Heard of them?
The big question, says Simon, is Biden was incapacitated in office, but he was signing the executive orders to cover up. But no one held accountable. Exactly. He wasn't competent. You've seen it with your own eyes when he used to give a speech and slur the speech a little bit and didn't know what way to walk off the stage and was walking like this. I know I walk bad, but God blame, I can walk better than him. Two cheeks of the same backside. Johan to Simon. Absolutely. Yeah. Have you enjoyed tonight? What did you think of John Hanson?
I thought it was fascinating. I could listen to him talking for weeks. Brilliant. And the fact that the background of him being a bobby and the whole thing of everything's got to be corroborated. Fascinating.
Well, as the Red Bird says, gotta get up there earlier tomorrow. Great show, Frank and Anthony. Night chat. Catch you next time.
Good night, Redbird.
So he won't be watching the film and TV review tomorrow morning. I know why he's got to be up early, He has to go down to Gracie for the bargains for his wife. I'm going down to Gracie Sheds on Saturday morning. See you later, boys. And Simon says, thank God Kamala Harris didn't. No, if she would have won, she's clueless, that lady. Just clueless. And if she would have got in, she would have been a bigger puppet than Zelensky. She landed in South Korea and told the media she was glad to be in North Korea. Yes. Jesus, that's the best we get. Yeah. Lovely, Bella. Franco and Anthony, fantastic night. Really enjoyed it. Thank you once again. No, thank you for joining us. Because we are finishing now. I'm so tired. I had all these things done in my eyes today. I'll give you the ring in a minute. Okay?
Yeah.
I'll give you the ring after this. I'm going to make a cup of tea first, though. They'll say that's all right. I'll fall asleep.
Well, that's all right.
No, we'll ring you. John was incredibly concise to his points and refuted what he couldn't confirm himself. In my eyes, his credibility is gone. I'm made up you said that because I'll have to go back to football. You'd be all right with this one, Johan. And there was a certain fella who came on. Now, I knew that he wanted to get rid of Jurgen Klopp 2 years before. This is before we got Arne Slot. And everybody had to go at him. And he said, oh, I'm not sitting here. This is on the pod. He said, I'm not sitting here listening to all this. You know, within an instant, he forgot what Jurgen Klopp says on a shoestring, if you know what I mean. Mm. And he was really having a go at him, you know, all the time. So anyway, he got off. I just said, yeah, to that. And you go and he says, yeah, to that. Then. That was it, the end of them. Like no names. And it's very similar. Very similar. Oh, fuck. Those two told me. Sorry about this. Simon says, a little joke to end the night. There we go. I went to the doctors, he said. I went to the doctors and he said, I'd like you to lie on the couch. I said, what for? He said, I'd like to sweep the floor. Tommy Cooper. You can imagine that, can't you? You know, I want you to lie on the couch. I always remember Benny Hill, and you just see his face, is that, you know, like that on the screen. That's all you see, you know, just. And it's that doctor, you know, on the door.
Yeah.
And anyway, it goes to him and he's sitting there like that. And this girl comes in, this big blonde piece, you know, a big babe. And you see, like, you know, one of those partition things, you know, in the corner of the room. And he looked at it and he went, just go over there in the corner behind the partition and take all your clothes off and put them on top of mine. You know, the best chef. You know, stupid things. I was watching Tommy Cooper the other night, and you see him, and he stands in there, you know, he's got this thing in his hands, and he's doing that, and he just looks at the audience, and he looks behind him and goes, he doesn't mention it, he just says, who's that? And carries on, you know, and he stops again. Who's that? I was even laughing my head off, you know, doing that. That was Tommy Cooper. You can imagine him saying those mad jokes. Not that it's a joke, are they? want you to lay on the couch. What for? So I can brush the floor. And I only got on there, John, 30 minutes. Sounds interesting. Stop. Oh, I thought you were going to say something else. No, you'll have to come on again and watch us, Annie.
He was great, Annie. He was really.
She's a very good friend of mine, you know, Annie. This is the girl you've known for years.
Yeah.
And she keeps telling me about her husband. And I'm finally going to meet him in a couple of weeks' time. Finally going to meet him. Because he sounds a lovely, lovely man. They live down south and they're coming up, you know. She comes up to see her family now and again. She phoned me today. And she said, do you want to go out? And I told her, he wants to go over to Port Sunlight. I said, what for? She said, well, he does. So I said, okay. And if I can, you know, I will. But she said, if you can't, there's no problem because we'll come back and we'll have a cup of tea with you. I had another girl who I know, Faye. She's a lovely girl, Faye. Just lovely people. Simon says, night guys, cracking show as usual. Thank you, Simon.
Thanks, Simon. Good night, Simon.
Thanks for the bad jokes as well. And he says, I put that little twerp Zelensky on a effing keyring. Great, not the same since it moved, says Barry. Great, not the same since it moved. What? That's mad, that. Good night, Franco, Anthony and gang. Free Palestine. There you go.
Good night, Annie.
I was watching. I was streaming Italy today, and they were in a place called Veneto. It's a big area, and you see this beautiful building. Oh, what piazza was it? I forget the piazza. And you see these people Italians just sitting down, the little placards, you know, and they're saying no more starvation. You know, basta, you know, enough of that. Non mangiare, they were saying, no fear, you know, for the Palestinians. And you see one of them and they've got the flag and they're just like this. It's all around the world.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And it should be.
I know. But someone mentions MI6 in the chat earlier, so I've got an emergency meeting at MI6, Mr. Redford. Officer, look, we usually have our meetings very early in the mornings when the sheeple are asleep. I think you're right there. I think you must be right. Michael, I found tonight entertaining. Thank you. I just made up that people have enjoyed it. Johan, Redbird, how are you going to an MI6 meeting and forget it was me? Poor tracking skills. It was Johan, actually. It was. And Redbird, Johan, I'm trying to get some rest. Stop bugging me. I knew it was you. I was trying to protect you, bro. Wasn't it funny what John said when he met a mate, and you know, and he was talking to this other mate, and he goes, "You're in the MI5." He must have. How do you know? He said someone told.
Someone else told him, yeah, because he wasn't allowed to say himself. You know.
What kind of intelligence have we got? Okay, now. And Johan, good night, legends. Brilliant show tonight, Frank and Anthony. Thank you, Frank. Made our week. Looking forward to the film show tomorrow. That lovely.
Go on.
Simon says, a man, Benny, walks into his bedroom, finds his wife in bed with 3 other men in various stages of undress in the room. Benny, hello, 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 wife. Ain't you gonna speak to me? Benny, Benny. Anthony, thank you for tonight.
Thanks for asking me on. John was a pleasure to meet and a really, really interesting gentleman to listen to.
He is, isn't he?
Yes.
He is. And it's not only that, you know, it's he's a nice fella, but as I said, I was made up that he's skeptical.
Yeah.
He's skeptical. You know, we're all skeptical with certain things.
Yeah.
And Barry says, remember Eric Bristow? He said to me, why did you put that super glue on my dart? I said, you just can't let it go, can you? Tim back. Yeah, I just can't let it go. Right. Sorry, it was about, you know, a very short one for current affairs. My chaps, bye, says Simon. Good night, Simon. Good night, gents, says Freedom Journey. And on that wonderful note, I'm glad you enjoyed it, you know. And you'll have to come on when he's on, and you know, that one Thursday.
That's it. I would love to. Yeah.
And we've got all exciting things to talk about next Wednesday, haven't we?
Got a few things, yeah. I've been doing a little reading up on what we've talked about, yeah. Yeah.
Well, even, you know, Johan, he said, I found me, you know, when he was at college, he said, I found me Oliver Twist. He said, I'm going to read. I said, you don't need to.
Fantastic.
Because what we're doing, you know, you don't have to read it.
Wow. Well, do you know what? I was in bits over the past couple of days reading about John Keats. Absolute bits, the way that the English classism establishment treated him. Yeah. But what I didn't know, which I found really, really inspiring, was that he was a great inspiration to one of our great heroes, Wilfred Owen. And Wilfred Owen would have in his diary John Keats' birth and his death day. He carried them around in his diaries.
Oh.
Because Wilfred Owen got a lot from him. It's like we always said, you know, it passes down the lines. Inspiration is forever. You know.
And wait till we start talking about them.
Yeah.
Wait till we start Wednesday.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. I really did. I loved that. And Monday, don't forget, we've got our history show.
History.
Good night, gents, says Freedom. Good night, gents. Myra, where have you been? I thought something happened. I was going to... Oh. Myra. Freaking hell. Hi, Frank and friends.
Oh.
I was worried about you, you know. I was on the George Galloway thing, but I was gonna ask someone on there if they'd seen you.
See Myra.
Yeah.
Oh.
and I was on something else.
Yeah.
See Myra, and there was no one I seen. Oh, Myra. Reagent. ICT. UCT. See all these abbreviations. These are all MI6, MI5, CIA.
MDF, B&Q.
And Myra says, Lee Argent, you made it. Timing is everything. Oh. Johan, even Johan, Myra. There she is, Frank. She's been two-timing you with Jimmy Dore and Jimmy's. I love Jimmy's. I've missed him. He was only a pay down here from me, you know. Jimmy Dore. I was sick over it, and when he was on, I went on live with him, and I said, Jimmy, you were 600 yards away from me. When are you coming back? I didn't know that you were on. I thought you were on in September or so. And he did me think. He said, Frank, he said, it was a very arduous journey.
Oh.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Everything's gone.
We've turned off. We turned out.
I don't know. I don't know what happened. Jason, I think he turned us off. Or the MI6.
Could be
MI6.
MI6 or B&Q.
Is that due dissidence or yeah, it says due dissidence. And Myra letting on soon.
Yeah,
it's great to see him. Myra, I really was worried, you know, because we worry about people. You're in the dark anyway. Is your lights off?
No. Well, the lights are off, but yeah. Yeah.
You're in the shadows. You remember what Shakespeare said?
Yes, I do, yeah. Yeah. Are you calling me a vessel?
Yeah, about the shadows. About the shadows. I was watching a film last night, and it was Macbeth, the tragedy of Macbeth. Now, I like Denzel Washington. I think he's a great actor, but for fuck's sake, he has a mid-Atlantic accent. He played Macbeth. And I thought, nah, sorry.
Oh.
Johan, MI6 interference again.
Yeah. Or the aliens. Yeah.
Exactly. You're both missing, fellas. I wonder if I can get on myself.
Barry, yeah.
No, can't get on. It's Jason's fault. No, I'm supposed to be there, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah, there I am again, but I'm in the dark. I'm always in the bloody dark.
Yeah.
Put a penny in the lecky, lads. Myra says, the lights are off and everyone is their own. Exactly. So we're all right. We're all right, people. And what I'll do, I did miss out on, there was loads of things to talk about, especially about what's going on in Kiev, what's going on, and you know, for years they've been saying, even before the SMO, all the West was saying what a corrupt country Ukraine is. That's what they were saying. As soon as Russia went in, they're all heroes. They're all heroes. today, but they're going against them.
Yeah.
CT is my location. What was it? Oh, CT. CT is my location. Trying to think where CT is. Anyway, Jason, did you not pay the bill? Come on, lad, say Simon. And as Barry says, those aliens turned off the power after tuning in earlier. And on that wonderful note, Myra, please come on again with us, please, you're one of the mainstay, we've known each other for years. Oh, there's me mate there, look. He told me that he went to see him, Steve Mulholland. Jimmy Joe. Cape Town. CT, Cape Town. Cape Town, wow. Steve says, another great drama on BBC Two last night by Jimmy McGovern called The Unforgiven. Yeah, I believe it's absolutely brilliant. But I don't like the content of it.
Yeah, great acting now by
oh yeah, younger
Bobby's
in it, isn't he?
Schofield. Absolutely fantastic.
Made up for him.
Yeah.
Oh, Myra, I can't get over Myra, Cape Town. I know you're in South Africa, but CT, yeah, Cape Town, should have lived. You guys crack me. Eric and Annie, Simon. Thanks. You Eric and Markham and Annie, boys. Sleep well, chaps. See you in the next one, says Barry Aldrich. And on that wonderful note, even in all, I'm sorry I'm late. Sorry I'm late, but I've just been to the opticians and he said he couldn't see me. That's me.
We know how he feels.
Should have seen what it was doing to me today. This girl's lovely. It's Portuguese, Portuguese girl. And I said, Diogo Jota. And she went, oh, yes. Nice little doctor. And on that wonderful note, thank you. I made up with everyone tonight. I really am. Thank you for your input because you made John so welcome. And he's coming back for the special. Jason will get hold of him. I'll tell him what to bring. I'm going to ask him to put, proper UFO pictures on.
Yeah.
He was impressed with my pictures, though, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There's the plane coming into land.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's that thing. It just came. It just shot.
Yeah.
Under it.
Yeah.
And I think it wobbles it, because if you look at it again, Anthony, have a look, right?
Yeah.
Wrong. Right. If you look at that, you see the way it is. The light's coming towards, right?
Yeah.
Now have a look at this. Fascinating, this. Now do you see the way it's come up and it's knocked it more? See the way it's tilted more?
Yeah. There's like sound waves in the sky.
Yes. Yeah. Look at that.
Yeah.
And it's gone back to normal.
Yeah.
Couldn't explain what that was, though, could he?
No, but as he freely said, he's seen and heard so many stories that people are not believing, even though they're backed up with facts. It's it's crazy. It's almost as if it petrifies people to admit that there's something there that we don't know.
Yeah, yeah. And the urgencies, you take care now, okay? Thank you, Myra, for your words today. That's lovely. I like when people,
Yeah.
just express something of gratitude. I love that.
Yeah.
Do you think they got it, Simon? Says Barry Aldrich. That's lovely. She answered back. We have light, says Barry. Yeah, you've got light there. That's you. Not me, though. But anyway, and on that wonderful note, the light question, I'll have to remove this and say a big thank you to everybody out there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me tonight. Hopefully see some of you tomorrow. If not, see you on Monday, Anthony and myself with the History Show. Tuesday is the football show. Wednesday is the wonderful new show, The History of Literature, which is fabulous, in my opinion. And I don't know whether to, but I'll just be seeing you for the full. That's why I asked John to come back on a Thursday, because I really need to get this full on. I want to do a conspiracy theory. I've got a cracking one to do. He loved those pictures, Frank. His eyes lit up when you said you shot it. I said, I was looking at the pictures. That's the other fella, John. My neighbour asked if he could use my lawnmower, and I told him, of course he could, so long as he didn't take it out of my garden. Crack a little joke. I like that. I like that little mad joke. I like little mad jokes. And on that wonderful mad joke, Frank is tired, needs a cup of tea. And as I said, I'll see you all again tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
Anthony, you are on, but Frank isn't. Yeah.
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 And on that note, you're on. Well, we're all going off now. I'll see you all soon. Mille grazie. Tutti. Mille grazie. Thanks again, Anthony. Thank you so much for keeping me company.
Thank you, and thanks, John. And thanks, Jason. And all. Thank you, everyone.
The most important to the people out there.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. And we'll talk about Zelensky and Ermac again. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, mate. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Ciao, everyone. Ciao.